as we were evaluating what went wrong, how we could have done better, it got to they all have one single purpose: to develop a high quality product and marry it to exceptional service. You just get so engulfed in it all that it can truly bury you mentally, because I don't want to wake up tomorrow and say, I could have, I should have, I did. And when you decided to start a business and when you decided to get into entrepreneurship, you decided to compete. And we are back with another episode of the Julius Files. I am your host, Jason Julius, and I'd just say I want to welcome everybody to the water cooler for small business. Today's episode, I think I will title today's episode the woulda, shoulda, coulda. So I want to get right into it, and I catch myself saying I'm going to be honest, and I mean. But by and large, I am probably one of the most honest people you will ever meet. What I'm saying is I'm going to be blunt. Part of being blunt is sometimes admitting your own faults. And we had a situation this last weekend that, well, it caused this episode in general. And I do want to be blunt about this because, in one of my businesses, we dropped the ball. And as we were evaluating what went wrong, how we could have done better, it got to we could have done this and we should have done this. And I quickly responded back to one of the team leaders that woulda, shoulda, coulda sounds a lot like businesses that go out of business and then reflect back on the things that they should have done, that they could have done. And obviously after 17 years, I have no intentions of being one of those failed businesses looking back on that. But it very much brought a lesson to me and a reminder of when you get knocked off the horse, how you actually get back on the horse and keep things pushing forward. But it really did. It brought me back to, I guess, lessons learned and things that I would like to convey and remind people that they're in business, that you are in business. And part of that means to keep pushing every day. And when you do make mistakes, the best thing that you can do is actually reverse engineer to the point of finding out where the actual cause of the mistake was, and then developing a system or a process to ensure that that doesn't happen again. And in a lot of ways, that truly means getting back to the basics. And sadly, in the midst of all of the chaos that I have going on with all of my companies, in many respects, I have had to actually stop and say, hey, let's get back to the basics. In my first 10, 12 years, what I had built was pretty basic in itself. It was a coffee shop that I had decided to develop a pizza place and put them under one roof as Coffee Junkies and Pizza Junkies, and it was a dual brand under one roof as a B2C, serving actual consumers. Over the last 5 years, though, the mental map, the mind map that I have created, the ecosystem that I have created has evolved into a lot more because I went out and I bought a marketing company and I bought a apparel company that does custom decoration of screen printing and embroidery, logoed garments for businesses. And again, put them under one roof to create another dual brands under one roof concept, but they are B2B. Both of these companies actually serve businesses and their business needs. When I start looking at all of that, and then I think about creating this podcast and what I'm overall wanting to do, as far as that you compound that with still wanting to franchise Coffee Junkies and Pizza Junkies. If you start taking into consideration everything that I've built, well, my own employees, I actually had the mind map that I drew out. I had it printed and put on this big board. And as you walk up the stairs to my apartment, I've got it there, and everybody's like, yeah, that's taking a look inside of Jason's brain. And many times I will look at that and be overwhelmed myself by I don't know, in a lot of ways, I think that it's simple, but it's complex, which I think actually suits me in general, because I've said that that's an easy way of explaining me. That in a lot of ways I am simple, but very complex at the same time. What I'm getting at, though, is that when I look at all of this, my ambition has kept me pushing. And when you look at it all, it can be very, very overwhelming until you break it down to its simplicity and realize all of these businesses, yes, they're meant to function with each other, but they're also meant to operate individually, and they all have one single purpose: to develop a high quality product and marry it to exceptional service and serve the customer that it was intended to serve. These are basic things. So when we screw up, and it is like one screw up can lead to another screw up, can lead to another screw up, can lead to getting inside of your own head and saying, oh, I can't do anything right. Oh, we can't do anything right. Oh, we're going to fail. We're in trouble. And that is when it is very important to stop and say, let's get back to the basics. What are the basics? One order at a time, one customer at a time, one day at a time. When you start becoming overwhelmed with everything that you've actually got going on, all of it can seem very overwhelming. But if you will just stop and reset and get outside of your head and look at it and say, what got me into business? What is it that I did really well? Okay, let's go back to that and let's execute one order. Okay, I can do this without mistake. Let's execute with one customer. Okay, I served this customer well and they walked away grateful that they did business with me. Okay, let's execute for one day serving a group of customers so you can look back at the team and say, hey, we accomplished one day without becoming our own worst enemy. Okay, let's go for 2 days. We accomplished 2 days without stepping on our proverbial dick. Okay, great. Let's go for a week. And what I'm getting at is that obviously you just get so engulfed in it all that it can truly bury you mentally. And if you can't just stop and reset and say, okay, let's get back to the basics, forget about the mistakes, because I do want to be clear. And you know what? I mean, maybe somebody will argue with me about this. In my experience in business, if you are humble enough and you are willing to admit when you make a mistake, people will show you grace. I have screwed up my business many times over 17 years. What has given me another opportunity to fix my problems? Admitting my mistakes, apologizing to my customers, assuring them that I appreciate them and that I've realized my mistake, and getting back on track and coming back to the basics and saying, one customer at a time, one transaction at a time, one day at a time, because it's not just me, or it's not just you running your business. You are leading a team of people, and you experience all of these negative thoughts every day, and a negative thought leading to a negative interaction, leading to a we suck. That's just going to cascade down the wrong way until you can stop as a leader and tell everybody, stop. Let's reset. Let's get back to the basics. Let's understand the basic premise of what we're here to do, and let's execute that and do it really well. Okay, so that's where the woulda, shoulda, coulda comes in, because most people that get into business, when they do fail, and again, a 9 out of 10 fail in the first year, and of the one that makes it, 9 out of 10 fail in the first 10 years. On the positive side of it, they reflect. On the negative side of it, they have regrets. Where do those regrets come from? Woulda, shoulda, coulda. Every time that you are sitting there thinking about your business, you're thinking about what you would do, you're thinking about what you could do, and you're thinking about what you should do. In much the same way that a football coach will say, 60 minutes, just leave it on the field so that when you come off the field, win, lose, or draw, you know you left it on the field. You know you did everything you could to get to a winning result. Win, lose, or it doesn't matter. You did everything that you could, and that ensures that you won't reflect and look at it as regret. And I'm guilty of this myself, because I will sit back at the end of the day and say, I could have posted a story online. I could have made another video. I'm going to be honest. I'm sitting here this evening. It's 9:15 in the evening. I got home from a long day, and the camera I just happened to have up in my living area, and I thought, I could go down here and do another podcast. I should go down there and do a podcast. I'm taking my ass down here and I am recording a podcast because I don't want to wake up tomorrow and say, I could have, I should have, I did. Part of winning an entrepreneurship is getting up and doing every day and not looking back and saying, I could have, I should have. You do not want to get down the road and look back and say, I would have, I could have, I should have, but I didn't, and that's inevitably what led to failure. Failure is going to happen. Like that those are life's learning lessons in general. The dumb lesson is to look back and say, you knew the answers, you knew what to do, but you didn't do it. That's lazy ass shit. And I'm telling you, if you're going to be in entrepreneurship, get off your lazy ass and do what you could do what you should do what you know to do, so that win, lose, or draw, you can look back and know you did everything that you knew to do to survive and be successful. Part of that, because I've beat myself up about it, I'm 47, and over the period of my life, I have always sought out information, but not in the way that I have sought out information in the last 3 or 4 years. And I kick myself in the ass because the level of knowledge and understanding and wisdom gained in the last 3 years is a light year's difference than the first 5, 10, and 15 years. And I had this thirst for information back then. I would have, just like with everything, if you gain information today, you can apply it to tomorrow. And had I gained all of the information that I've gained in the last 3 years, 15 years ago, I could have been applying it to all of those tomorrows, and just maybe I might actually feel a level of success that I'm still putting effort into feeling, but I don't feel like I've achieved. But I look back and I have nobody to blame but myself, and it is one of those woulda, shoulda, coulda moments. I could have sought out that information and reading. I didn't. I can look back and say every single time that I sought out information and knowledge, it furthered my business development, both the actual business and my personal business acumen as an entrepreneur and a business leader. So I'm just telling you, the woulda, shoulda, couldas are one of the surest ways to lead to failure in business. Don't have that regret. Do not sit there and put all of the effort that it takes to get a business off the ground and then watch it burn and go to shit, only to look back sifting through the wreckage later on and say, well, I should have done this. I could have done this. Under different circumstances, I would have done this. No, that's a crock of shit. Do. Get off your ass and do. Because in entrepreneurship, it is capitalism, it is competition, and there is somebody else that is out there actually doing what you know that you should be doing. And when you decided to start a business and when you decided to get into entrepreneurship, you decided to compete. And part of competition is getting out there and leaving it on the field every single time so that when you go to sleep, you know you did everything you could to win. And if you can go to bed feeling that way, then when the actual win, lose, or draw comes, you don't have regret. And that is the biggest thing where I'm a big believer in mental and physical health. And poor mental health will lead to poor physical health. And if you want to have poor mental health, swim in regret and looking backwards. So for many reasons, don't do the woulda, shoulda, coulda. Understand you're going to trip yourself up. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to stumble and fall. Those are not times to go lick your wounds, leading to paralyzation and woulda, shoulda, coulda. Those are the times to get back to the basics. Get back to what got you in business, what started to build your customer base, where you found your passion, and install some discipline to stop and reset and just get back to the basics and execute one thing at a time. And get 30 days down the road and say, 30 days ago, I stopped the downward slide and we're back on track. And again, your customer base will give you grace. They will see that you are owning your mistakes, that you are doing what you can to turn it around. And guess what? They will give you a second chance and potentially a third chance. And I'm here to tell you, in my 17 years, specifically with coffee junkies and pizza junkies, they'll give you a fourth chance. They might actually give you a fifth, albeit I will tell you, I literally got a review that told me, I gave you 5 chances, and at least I'm telling you why I'm not giving you a 6th chance. And that's me being honest. Like, you cannot control everything. You are responsible for everything your team does, but your team is going to make mistakes. And it is like so gut-wrenching when you literally have a customer saying, your team has made a mistake with me 5 times and there's not going to be a 6th. But the reality is that what was that guy admitting? He gave me grace for a second chance, a third chance, and a 4th chance. That means you have many times, many ways that you can screw up. And as long as you're willing to own it and get back to the basics, people are willing to give you another chance. So get out of your head and stop with thinking about the woulda, shoulda, coulda, and do, and just get back to the basics. All right. That's my message for today. If it resonates, please share it. If you know somebody in the small business space that you think needs to hear it, again, please share the show. All right. Thanks for listening. You guys have a good night.